1, 2, 3, 4, get my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine. 10, gonna do it right and do it again, yeah.
Hello and welcome to the EFM Health Club Podcast for another week. My name is Justin Waring and I will be running you through our topic for today, which will be varied, as wide and as deep as possible. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, you will see a new face. We have a new panel member with us, Michael Dewson. Michael, hello.
Hello. How are we, guys?
Michael.
And we still obviously have Wade Brady there. Wade, welcome.
Thank you. G'day, boys.
Good to see you again. It's been a fortnight since we're on, so we've had personnel change. Jason has survived through 35 odd podcasts here, but he's decided that he, needed a little break from the podcast, and he's working through some things with the EFM. So we've subbed Mike in as a very able replacement. Mike's been around EFM for quite a while. Jason was accused of, maybe holding us back. So we'll see whether we put that to rest. I'm sure he's listening and is laughing now. And I will get him on to maybe say a final goodbye in his own personal way, maybe at the end of this show as a little tag. But Mike, we all did it. Tell us about yourself. How did you get into EFM? Where are you at now? Past lives, current life? Let us know the story.
So, I actually started with EFM in 2009. I worked in a kitchen. I ran a kitchen for about 6 years. So I was used to the hospitality side of things and the big bang, go, energy. But I was stuck in a room and all of my customers were out there and I was in here and my energy was just trapped. I was traveling overseas with my now wife and I decided I wasn't going back to the kitchen. I wanted to go back to something I enjoyed. I had always trained myself personally, so decided to give personal training a crack. We were at a careers night, so a few places were there. You had your EFM, you had Good Life, things like that. Would have been Fitness First, sorry. Anyway, I had one of the boys from EFM say, go and see this man. He needs somebody to run a gym for him. So I did, and I got the job. Within 2 weeks, he said, see you later. I'm going to have a baby, sort it out and learn. So I had to either literally sink or swim. 6.5 years later, I was still working there, running the place, manager. Absolutely loved EFM. EFM is the only company in the fitness industry that I've worked for. I then had a little break between, about 2 years. I became a cellar door manager. So I went from one extreme to the other. It was fun, but I wanted to come back to EFM. And this time when I said I would come back, I wanted to be a franchisee. So I started my club, or took over an existing club, and was there for 6 years, and then basically went back home to the original club that I worked in with my boss, Rocco, and have been there for nearly 2 years, or just over 2 years now. So loving what we do. EFM just has a certain special way of doing things, and I've always clicked with that, and they've always helped me with being able to get myself out of that kitchen and out of that room, out into the members and to the actual public, so I can help them out.
Yeah, it is very different from serving people in a kitchen to actually make. I'm sure they're very happy while they're eating your food, but helping them in a way that's going to transform certain parts of their life. There's certainly a different feel to that, isn't there?
Absolutely. And it's that instant, with your kitchen stuff, you don't really get to see them enjoy it. You don't really get to see the result. You just hope for the best. You send it off and you can, peek around the corner, but you haven't got time for that in the kitchen. So you literally just have to hope. It's more so, you get your results and your stats all come from the money coming in and how busy your restaurant was. But with this one, you get to see it instant, face to face. You can see those results. You can see that service, and you can see that, change in people, which is you can't beat that. It's amazing.
Yeah. I've known chefs and having run a golf club with a catering business there, I know chefs. Where do you fit in the like unhinged scale? You seem pretty hinged. A lot of the
I'm
chefs
putting
I've
on my
met-
best for today.
Okay.
We all have our moments, I think, and I can definitely be very hinged and focused and get it done. But then, when the time is right, the hinges fly off. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like. I quite like cooking. I watch MasterChef and all these other cooking shows, and everybody wants to be a chef before they've been in a kitchen. It's a pretty hard environment, isn't it? It's a brutal job.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how you do it and do it for long periods, and because there's such long hours, such pressure.
Yes. Yeah. I must say nowadays I still cook. I do a lot of cooking still, but it's much more enjoyable for me to do it for myself and for the family than doing it the way we did.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Michael. Well, we're ecstatic to have you on board. You were our first choice after Jace decided he really couldn't commit the time. So hopefully we'll have Jace back, once or twice, into the future, because I know he really enjoys the banter. We'll carry on the three of us for now. So we wanted to explore a topic today, which is, as I said earlier, very, very varied, in that if things that we hear in our own gyms that you could refer to as a myth, a common misunderstanding, something that is very black and white that actually has a whole bunch of grey, and thought we'd analyse some of the more common phrases that we hear and, put our own point of view in terms of how true or not they are in terms of people's overall fitness and wellness. So, Wade, I'm going to start with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is the longest we've gone without you talking. You all right?
I'm going to add in a story. I was doing dishes for my dad in the kitchen, and he used to fly off the handle. And it is part of the territory, I think. But I just thought of Dad. His dad is so good with people, and if he ended up running an EFM, he would have done really well at it, and he never would have had to fly off the handle. So I don't know what it is about the kitchen. It's that's
it's probably the long hours, the late nights, the lack of sleep, and then I reckon most of the feedback you get is all bad. You're like, this sucks. This isn't correctly.
Nobody ever comes and tells you how good it was. They're happy to tell you how bad it was, but no one ever comes in and says it's
But in
great.
the gym, you see the smile, and instantly, it's a really interesting comparison. So thanks for sharing that. But I'm ready for your question, mate.
Ready for my question. All right. So here's what happened the other day. I have a lady who's post-pregnancy, and she's come in and someone said to her that, so I had her doing some gentle body weight squats, and someone's told her that women post-pregnancy shouldn't squat past 90 degrees. So I'm figuring the hip shouldn't go down past 90 degrees. Now, that's not something I've ever heard. And my first thought was, that's crap. But then maybe I don't know enough. Wade, what do you reckon?
Actually, you're going to have to cut this bit out. Sorry, we're doing the podcast. Is it important? Okay. I need a thing to hang on the door. So how do we know where you're going to cut this bit? When my hands are doing that, all right, cut that bit out.
You left a really good pause at the beginning, and now
you see, and then so the first thing that comes to mind, actually, when you say that, I remember my mum said to me, I think before I was a trainer or just getting into it, you shouldn't squat past 90 degrees. That we mean at your knees, and so mum's obviously picked that up from somewhere. It's obviously an idea that's out there. But when you say that too, I think, geez, if that's a thing, you're going to be busy. Asia's a big place. I don't know if you see how Asian people sit, how they go to the toilet. So straight up, I just think what a blanket crazy statement that is. If that advice is coming from a health expert, I guess they'd have their reasons for why they say it, but it just leads to more and more questions to why someone would say that, because I'm sure there would be cases where an individual would do better abiding by that, but that one fires me up a bit. Like, I think anyone really, most people should be able to, if they work at it, be able to build up to doing that, because functionally it's just a lot more benefits in being able to do that, as well as I'm sure other benefits. Just feeling
maybe it was a safety thing. They're like, well, if you don't squat too low, you probably can't hurt yourself. So that's now our rule.
Yeah,
that's what I
thought. It's guesswork. Like, it might be something to do with just having a baby, but as Michael said before, if you've been a power lifter and squatted your whole life, I don't think that's going to go down too well if that's the advice. But unless there's something physically changed after childbirth or whatever, but it just raises so many questions. So that's a big, the first one, a big no, I don't like that. I'm sorry, whoever came up with that idea.
Yeah, and I reckon a lot of these statements will come down to myths about lifting, really. Yeah, people are very, there's still an ingrained, I guess, belief and almost culture about how safe lifting things and being in a gym, and particularly for girls and women, yeah, whether or not it is safe to lift anything. So the one thing I hear a lot, and it's a fear of a lot of younger girls, is I don't want to be bulky. I can't lift weights. I don't want to be bulky. I
can't believe we still hear this one. If I can jump in, it's a silly one. It's silly, and one of the best ways I actually tackle this one, I'm, considered a skinny trainer. I say to them, girls, if it was that easy, do you think I would look like this? If I was to lift up those 4 kilo dumbbells and do what I'm asking you to do, why am I not bulking up? You're not going to do it. It takes a lot more work than you think. Really? To have to build up that kind of muscle. You go and ask any bodybuilder and they'll tell you, it takes a lot more work than what we're asking you to do to bulk up like that. Plus, you've got to consider the fact that your estrogen levels, testosterone levels, completely different in men and women. So, estrogen levels will inhibit muscle growth. It's a complete myth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
definitely faded off, that one. I used to hear it a lot 15 years ago, but it's pretty rare now, thankfully.
Yeah. So, I think I get it from older ladies that come in, that haven't really done too much in a gym in the last, little bit, or have never been in a gym. I don't want to be big. I don't want to be big.
Yeah.
It's a very common fear, and it can't happen. I've never actually thought about explaining that to myself. I'd love to look like Arnie in his prime, and if it was that easy, I'd start.
Yeah, if it was that easy, we'd all look like that. But simply it doesn't. And it's funny you should say that about the older generation. It's one of the things, as we know, it's the most important thing for them to be doing to keep your bone density and other reasons for lifting weights. But you do see it's a very big fear in some of the older generation. Yet it's one of the biggest things they should be doing.
Yeah. If you were structuring a plan for the best thing towards longevity, what's the best thing people can do for longevity? That would be the first thing you'd put on the list.
Yep.
Pretty hard to argue with that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, what about this one? So this is one I don't hear a lot, but we've actually, before the show, we've written a list of things that we hear. Machines in a gym are useless. You should only ever use free weights. Now, my belief of this is, and I think it gets a little technical in terms of compound movements and isolating, individual muscles. But if we're doing the exact same movement, let's say bicep curls are always easier and they're good on YouTube because everyone can see my hands going up and down. So if we're doing that on a cable machine and we're doing it with dumbbells, to me, now we have to balance the dumbbell. That's fine. I accept that. But if I'm doing 10 kilos of plate work plus 10 kilos of dumbbell work, my muscles don't care how I'm doing that. My belief is that I'm doing 10 kilos. Does anyone disagree?
I agree.
Yeah, you have to agree with that. I mean,
But
go Wade.
you have to go exercise for exercise. Like a barbell curl, a cable curl with a bar, pretty similar.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where that one comes from. I mean, that might be more of a really old-fashioned kind of belief that, real men lift weights. We don't use machines.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It could also come from if someone said, what's better, free weights or machine weights? Like hypothetically, if you could only do one, which would you choose? Choose the free weights. There's going to be more benefits to it. And maybe from that, people, my trainer said that machines are useless.
Yes.
It's like, hang on, we just got lost in translation there.
Yes. Yes.
There's still a place for those things. But I said, if you just had to choose between one, you're going to get more benefits out of the free weights if you know how to use them. Because you're working more. It's a more advanced thing to do.
But there's more variety. There's more variety of movements. It's not the machines are designed primarily to do one thing.
Yeah.
Perform one
I
movement.
agree with what you said, Wade. That was the key. If you know what you're doing with the weights, weights are going to be free weights will be much more beneficial, I guess, if you had to choose one, simply because stabilizer muscles are being engaged when you're having to control that muscle or that weight in a certain way. That's probably, I guess, where they maybe also have some merit on the machines. Machines take out a lot of stabilizer muscles in certain movements, but that just comes down to your goals. Are you wanting to just target just my chest and no shoulders? No, you can't really do that, but the theory is, I guess, the machines help that happen. They take out your stabilizers and you're just focusing on one. Whereas free weights, you're going to have to engage all of those muscles, which in my opinion is better. So,
well, the other thing I say to members all the time is if you can master the free weight version, and then go to the machine and do it, it's going to convert really well. Like the machine will be so easy if you can do it with a free weight, the more advanced way. But if you do it the other way around, if you have a mate that goes to the gym, does all machines, and they come and join you with the dumbbells, that it doesn't convert so well going back the other way because they'd have weak stabilizers. Their body doesn't know the movement patterns. They'd have less body control. But yeah, useless is a strong word, isn't it?
Very strong word, yes. I think a balance of both. It's like everything, nutrition, life, balance of both. Yeah. Again, depending on your goal. But for me, it's a balance of both worlds, best of both worlds.
Well, let's do nutrition. So we've done a weight session. You must eat protein immediately after training. I see people with their protein shakes walking out the door very quickly. I don't think it's, has to be immediate. I'm not exactly sure on the science. Where do you guys stand on, like, you've got to eat protein as soon as you're done?
Over the years, I used to pick the brains of trainers. Everywhere I go, protein powder, like a supplement store, I'd say, that guy looks pretty big. I'll ask him what's the time frame, what's the window. And I think the window's actually got longer and wider, and I think it's probably out to 2 hours now, where the early days was the earlier the better. The earlier you get it in, the better the results. And I've heard half an hour, I've heard an hour. But a nutritionist who I respect is probably more about the 2 to 3 hours. It's not really going to make any difference if you speed up that process.
I have an interesting intake on that. I have recently gone through a bit of a journey on putting some weight back on, still going through it, so making sure eating the right thing in the opposite way most people do, and everybody will say, oh, you must be so happy, it's so lucky, you have to try and eat to keep weight on. It's not, believe me, it's not. Anyway, just on that note, it's more really a think about the protein intake during the whole day. So it's a balanced protein intake during the day. The body can only process 30 grams of protein every 2 hours. So if you're smashing down a protein shake that's got 50 grams of protein in it, you're wasting half of your money, basically. It's only going to process a certain amount. But if you're balancing it out and feeding that body the protein, throughout the day, getting to your 150 grams per day, it's not, that's going to be more important than whether you like Justin said, people smashing down that protein shake on after their last rep before they're walking out the door. Yes, there's a time frame, and it has been changed. It's not as short as we thought. 2 hours or 2 to 3 hours, I think, is where we're at now. But again, it's more really about that protein intake during the day and making sure it's balanced and meeting that 150 grams.
Yeah, you mentioned you're trying to put on some weight, Michael. I'd suggest that putting on weight is slightly harder than taking weight off.
It's not easy. I can attest. Yeah, it's not easy. Yep.
And because you've got the people who are out there listening to this trying to lose weight and trying to have done a whole bunch of things that are going, oh, that's bull crap. But you have to be really, so when you're losing weight, there's a whole range of different diets and things that you can do. But when you're trying to put on weight, it has to be really targeted. You've got to be quite specific. And, when you really, I guess when you're trying to lose weight, you can confuse your body, drink more water or have some coffee, to kind of prolong a bit of a fast. And so whole other tricks. There kind of aren't any tricks in putting on weight, is there?
No, and that's spot on. Your body knows if you're not getting that protein, if you're not getting those carbs, because you do need carbs, cutting out carbs is not the way to lose weight. If you're not getting all those macros and everything spot on, or at least as best as possible, and the opposite for most people, we have to have instead of having a deficit of calories, we have to make sure I've got a surplus. So I've got to eat more than I burn in a day. I'm a personal trainer who works 2 sessions a day, and I'm on my feet. I can do 10,000 steps before my first session in the morning. So I do have to eat a fair bit to keep that moving and keep it on. Keep the weight on.
Let me point out, when you say 2 sessions, they're 3 or 4 hour blocks.
Correct.
It's not 2 hours. It's
not an hour. No,
it's a full day's work before either side of the admin stuff in the middle.
That's right. Exactly.
Another thing too is with the terminology. I just got to pick you up there, Justin. And everyone says it to put on weight. When we say put on weight, do we mean 100% muscle, or is it muscle and fat, or?
Again, that's probably, if I can jump in there, that's probably, case by case. I can give you my example. It's a muscle thing. We're trying to put a bit of muscle on. I carry a very low body fat. I mean, this is all a medical thing. It's not chosen. I don't count my calories and never eat fats and things like that. It's not about that. But yeah, for me, trying to put a little bit of body fat on as well but mostly focused on the muscle, getting the muscle back on.
Yeah. And your body needs a certain percentage of fat. Like, we don't want to get rid of all fat. So we're all, in our roughly 40s. We need, as a healthy male adult in our 40s, somewhere around the 20% is a nice mark for us, right?
Absolutely.
So, and if people are unaware, like I always think a good guide of someone, if you see someone in a magazine, like a guy with this 6-pack chiseled, they're going to be around somewhere between 11, 12, 13%, on average. So that's someone that looks like they've got no fat. Your body still needs some fat. So
absolutely,
as you put on muscle mass, you will put on a little bit of fat as well. You need it, particularly for joints. It's funny, like power lifters need, it's a very small niche, but power lifters actually need to be a little bit overweight to make sure they've got enough synovial fluid and lubrication in and around their joints. They can't go running. They can't be slim because it's really bad for them.
It makes sense, because if you ever watch those shows, the World's Strongest Man competition, none of them are chiseled.
Not ripped. Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and your body is pretty good at you know, if you're eating a balanced diet, good at managing, taking out what it needs, storing things, and you know, getting rid of things that, you know, excess that it doesn't. So if you throw down 100 grams of protein straight after your workout thinking, I just had 100 grams, this is going to be awesome, you know, you waste a bunch of money.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, let's go to the flip side of that. We're talking about a bit about weight training. Cardio is the only way you can possibly lose weight. I need to lose some weight. I'm just going to stay on this treadmill for an hour. Are we?
Where are you from? The 1980s?
Yeah. No, if you ask me, it's literally in the name. Cardiovascular. It's you're training the heart. You're training your heart to be pump more efficiently, and that's how you get fitter and all that sort of thing. Weight training, it, you know, kind of helps to lose weight or lose fat if that's what you're trying to do. It's much more efficient at it. They both have their merits, but I would believe, you know, you can't just do cardio to lose fat.
It wouldn't surprise me if the cardio machine manufacturers really pushed the burning calorie thing, because it's got to come from somewhere.
Well, all of those charts are still printed on there, right? This is your fat burning zone, 80%, 60%.
Yep.
They're all still there. I mean, that's their business. They're not going to kind of divulge anything they don't want to.
No.
There's truth in it, but as I've said this, I could bring this up in most podcasts, but the afterburn you get from your weight training, it's not measured. You can't measure it, only in feeling hungrier. And so if weight loss is a goal, it's the weights and the interval training you do.
Yeah.
Depends on the individual. It depends how much you're doing. But if you've only got 45 minutes a few times a week to train, marathon running and training, it's not long enough. Like if you look at the body shape, physique of a long distance runner, generally it's their genetics anyway, but they put in so much time. No one's really going to put that much time into their training to lose weight. So the quickest, most efficient way to do it is your strength training and your interval training, for not what it just does for calorie burn in that session, but what it does for the next 36 to even 48 hours. So we're told by the scientists.
Yeah.
That's true.
Go
the metabolic rate will just sit higher. It sits higher for a lot longer after a weight session. So, you know, you can be sitting on your bum doing nothing and you'll be burning more calories after a weight session than you would be if you hadn't done a weight session. Or if you've done a cardio session, as Wade said, during the time, your heart rate's high. Yeah, you're burning calories, but you bring it back down and it goes away. It goes back to normal.
Yeah.
With the weight training, that'll stimulate that high metabolic rate for a lot longer.
And still we have no way of measuring that on a device. I don't know if we ever will, but if we could, I think that'd be a massive game changer for how people train.
Yeah.
Very true.
I actually think the cardio, the idea, particularly when people are new to the gym or they're restarting, they're just going to do some cardio, get myself fit, lose a bit of weight, and then I'll do the strength training. I actually think it's a bit more psychological. Like, I want to just do some easy stuff. Let me do the easy stuff. I know how to walk, and I know that's not going to get me out of breath, and I know I'm not going to be tired when I leave here or sweaty or whatever. And then I'll do that hard stuff later. Yeah. Later, actually, I don't think ever really comes. But and so the other thing I hear is as a bit of a flip side to that, when people stop training a little bit, I hear that if I do stop training, all of my muscle is going to turn to fat. So I don't want a lot of muscle. So I've explained ad nauseum that we have two different types of cells there. One can't switch to the other.
Two different tissues. Two different tissues.
They're made up of two completely different things, and you can't switch fat to muscle, and you can't fit. If you could, it would be amazing. You just can't do it. So your muscle might grow if you stop it. You know, if you eat more calories than you're burning in a day and you put on some weight, and your muscles may shrink through atrophy because you don't move, or if you're at a desk for long periods or whatever, but the two aren't intersecting.
They're not interchangeable, no.
Yeah. How good would it be if they were? Like that would
we'd be
awesome.
millionaires. We'd be millionaires by now.
What could actually be happening there? If you look at footballers take care of themselves more now when they retire, but maybe that fed into it too, because a lot of fellas would blow out after they'd finished training, but all the weights and the sprints and all that stuff has stopped, and the calorie intake stay the same or even probably increase, and the quality of food probably get worse as well. So the muscle is not turning into fat.
No, it's the change of the lifestyle, change of the regime. You know, when you're training however many hours a week and making sure your nutrition's good and your sleep as well, and then you stop doing that, of course your body's going to react to it. So it's that change. It's the way. It's similar to the myth, I guess, when people say, as soon as I turned 21, my body changed. Well, it's more so the fact, we found the bar and we started cooking differently and we started doing things differently. It's not just a mythical change that just happens. It's the lifestyle change.
Yeah. What's your next one, Justin?
What was my next one? The scale. All right. So let's continue on this kind of weight gain, weight loss kind of discussion. The scale is the best way to measure progress.
Not the bathroom scales.
The bathroom scales. If I just jump on the scale every day, I know how I'm going. So to me, I'll start. The scale's one measure. It's an okay measure, and I'd say, and I say to people every day, these fluctuations, you go, I lost a kilo yesterday, beautiful. A lot of that is fluid. A lot of that is, if you go to the toilet, you might lose another 300 grams and we can weigh again. So the scale is only one measure. I tell everybody in the gym, if you're, and we're kind of veering towards weight loss again, but if you want to figure out how much weight you're losing, how are your pants going? Pants are a little bit bigger, I'd suggest you've lost an inch. The tape measure is still another not amazing measure, but it's another measure that you can actually use. The scale shouldn't be your be all and end all.
Well, the scale is misleading in this situation. So over the years, I'm sure you guys have heard it as well. Someone will go on a big holiday to Europe, 2 months, and they just, I don't care about my body. This is all about just having fun. And they can come back and go, I didn't lose any weight. I can't believe it. This is so good. And it's like, well, about that, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you haven't lifted a weight for 2 months and you've been eating whatever you want. Maybe 3 or 4 kilos muscle down, 3 or 4 kilos fat up. So no wonder the scales say the same thing, but they're not telling the story at all, really. So that's the way I've shattered people over the years.
And that's where you could loop it back to what you just said too, Justin. Maybe the scales aren't changing, but how are your pants fitting right now? Do they fit the same as before you left? Probably not.
Yeah.
Definition of your upper body,
Yeah. Do you guys use those inner body scanners? Do you have people do that? I've got a rudimentary one in the gym that I use, and it's reasonably good. People are interested. I'm not sure it's good week to week. I think it's better. Well, actually, it's good week to week if we track an average. But
if you're looking for an average, yes, I'll jump in on that. We've had it in the club a couple of times, but again, we do it as a bit of a series. So I'll get members to, if they choose to, jump on the scale, do the whole test, do the whole scan. I'll explain everything to them, but then we'll have a good 6-week, block where we will do specific training, look at what we're doing this for. So that, I'll start training them for their specific goals. They'll do the food type thing, and you do another scan a bit later down the track and see what's happened, see the changes. I think it's beneficial that way. It's, again, if you're looking for an average, obviously maybe weekly, but I don't get my members on their weekly, no.
In a way, I think those, because we've done it here like every quarter. We were doing it pretty consistently every quarter. And I think in theory it's better than the actual I've found. And again, some people it's actually a good idea and it's the perfect tool. But I've seen it create problems as well, particularly for people that are doing really well and now they're starting to split hairs a bit. And and I have to say, you're in bloody good shape. Let's just stop doing the scan. Like, let's just find something else you can improve at, because you're splitting hairs now. Like, it gets to a point. So I don't know. It's good and bad. It depends on the individual, I find.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's do one more, and it's kind of calorie related again. If you're not sweating, you're not burning enough calories. If you're not sweating, you're not working hard enough. Because I hear that. I've got a couple of ladies in the gym that don't sweat, and they're like, "Yeah, I just don't sweat. I mustn't be. I need something to make me sweat."
That's
interesting.
BS, mate. It's
sweating, you know, that's your air conditioner. That's your body's air conditioner. That's how it cools you down. So I suppose it's kind of related to how hard you're working. If you're getting hot, your body's trying to cool you down. It would be interesting to ask. Sorry.
What type of workout is it? Is it a cardio workout? Is it hot outside? Well, everyone probably should be sweating.
Yeah. Have they had much water? I'd ask them how much water they drink. Yeah. I've sort of seen over the years it tends to be the people that don't drink enough water that just simply don't sweat a lot, and they're probably not working maybe as hard as they could. Who knows? But I've got a lady or two that come in and they'll tell me I'd get my water through my coffee, which blows my mind. But you know they won't sweat. They don't work crazy hard either, but they don't sweat.
I probably get too much water through too much coffee. I think I need to have a little bit of a detox. So I did want to talk about detox. I'm not a big fan. That might be our last question. I'm not a fan of detox. I think your body has amazing systems, livers, kidneys, whatever, to get rid of all the toxins that it doesn't need. I'm not sure lemon juice does a better job than that. I'm willing to go out on a limb.
I have to agree on that one too. You know, we have organs in our body that are sole function is to detox our body. So it's kind of constantly happening anyway. You know, you can go on these detox diets, but your body's already doing that. There's a function for that built in, as you just said. So, you know, I'm with you on that one, Justin.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't have to use it. Just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, because it's a bit like I've been abusing my body over this period of time. Too many parties. I'm going to correct that by not having it for a month, and it'll fix everything, and then I'll just go back to having it all again.
Yeah. That's a great way to say it. If only it was that easy.
Yeah, that's right. All right, boys, that might do us. Anybody got any other myths they want to, or things that they wanted to discuss?
Oh, there's a lot of exercises you hear that. There's a few exercises that you hear a trainer on Instagram or something say,
don't do deadlift.
Doing this exercise. Never do this exercise. Now, number one, they're trying to get clicks because it's divisive. It riles people up. So maybe that's what they're actually trying to do a lot of the time. But it annoys me. It's like, maybe just don't do them like that. But if you do them like this, then it's fine. You know, like one of my favorites is a barbell upright row. If you grab it wide and grip it hard, it just doesn't feel right on your shoulders. But if you get a kettlebell or go narrow on the barbell and hold it quite loose in your grip, that just feels way better. And again, I didn't specifically learn that from a video or learn it in a course. It's just with everything I've absorbed, and that's where I've landed, and it might even change again one day soon for whatever reason. But I don't know. I think we're pretty tribal creatures, and we sometimes get passionate. Like it's good that we're passionate, but
well, and I think so. If you had some advice, you know, the content that's out there, if you stick to the quite vanilla stuff, maybe do a bit of this, maybe do a bit of that, you're probably getting better advice than never do this. This is the only exercise you need.
If you lived your life like that, there'd be nothing left to eat. All the exercises are out. Like, you're running out of options, aren't you?
Agreed. I think you nailed it too, Jason. A lot of it is not so much this is bad for you. It's just this is better. So why bother doing that? Never do this again because this is a better version of it. But they make it sound like that's crap or that's old. We don't do that anymore. This is much more better. And you look at it and think, well, it's pretty much a similar thing, or sometimes it's some crazy silly thing that, you know, we shouldn't be doing. Sometimes the original is better.
A lot of the time it's take it with a grain of salt, but I think it's just whatever. I don't actually know. I wonder where that saying come from, but I think it's just more confusing when it comes from a health professional. That's because we're trusting in these people so much and paying good money to get the right answers, and they're in a powerful position, and sometimes I think their opinions just get in the way a little bit much.
Yeah.
Well,
Opinion.
I've been accused of being vanilla more than once in my life, so just listen to me. All right, that might do us, boys. Thank you for today.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Michael. You've done well. First podcast, even under the weather.
Yes, I must admit I am just coming out of a cold. So thank you very much, team. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I do hope to be on here for a bit more, and you guys will hear more from me.
Jason who?
Exactly.
I'm just glad there's no way I was nailing his last name, so it's a relief for me.
It took me 5 weeks to then mumble his surname.
I heard it. No, thank you very much, guys. Thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody else out there.
Beautiful. Thanks, boys. So follow the podcast on the EFM Health Club Podcast on Instagram. I'm at EFM Westmead, Wade, EFM McGill, and Michael at EFM Underdale. That's the EFM podcast for another week. We'll catch you soon.
Bye.
See ya.